For the Interrobang, I'm Briar Wilson, and today we're here with another Interrobang reporter, Georgia Newman. This is going to be like a little reporter rant type episode. We're going to be talking about all the celebrity drama. Because
very pop culture.
Yes, because Georgia over here, she doesn't like to say this, but I think that she's our designated celeb reporter. I don't know if you guys have read her Chapel Roan articles. No. No?
Yes.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about all the Chapel Roan stuff, the controversy, can't talk, and everything else that's been going on, Taylor Swift related stuff, and that'll be an interesting debacle because I love Taylor Swift.
I don't.
So stay tuned for that. And also today, as of like the date that this is being recorded, Liam Payne has just passed away.
Yeah.
Which we are very sad about. So we're going to get to that as well. So, Georgia.
Hi.
Let's dive in. Tell us about how, okay, first of all, why did you want to write about the Chapel Roan thing? Like, you were just on that side of TikTok?
Okay, so have you seen, yes, but have you seen that Jimmy Fallon thing where she goes, she's like with the long nails and she,
Yes.
she slays. She slayed it. So ever since then I was like, oh, she's an icon. We love her. She's the moment. So I don't know. I kind of have tuned into like the majority of stuff that she's been doing, I guess. Terrible to say, but I'm not even like a huge fan of her music. Like I like a few of the songs, but I just stand for what she stands for, like just being herself.
It's all right. Continue.
But yeah, I just stand for like the stuff she stands for just kind of being unapologetically yourself and not letting yourself kind of get roped in and wrapped up in the fame, I guess. We'll see. I mean, it's only been a couple months. Everything could change. But as of right now, I just like the fact that she is comfortable wearing these amazing costumes and doing music that is like synth pop 80s vibes rather than just like Taylor Swift and like super pop and like normal. So I like that she's like uniquely herself. I think that's the main thing. She's uniquely herself and she's unapologetic about it.
I can respect that. And I agree with that. I think she's very different and she's coming out with a lot of opinions that people don't like necessarily.
Yeah, for sure.
But I like how normal she is on TikTok. Like, you know, when you think of like big celebrities, a lot of the time they don't really hop on social media and just post a video of them talking.
No.
Because I watched her TikToks this morning so that we could make sure we are spitting the right facts here because we don't want to lie. And I found it, like, that was the first time I'd seen them.
Yeah.
I'm on, like, her music side of TikTok, but I wouldn't say that I'm, like, in the, like, I didn't really know about the controversial stuff until.
She gets onto TikTok with mascara running down her face, just woke up. I love that. I love it so much. Like, she's just so uniquely herself, unapologetically. It's amazing.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like how this all started and where, in case you guys aren't aware, you can go view the TikToks. They are still up, I believe. Yep. I don't think she took any of them down.
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah, no, she's a queen like that. Yeah. But just to give you guys the rundown, so Chapel Roan's first hit song was kind of Good Luck Babe, right? That was the one that's like.
Yeah, or Hot to Go. I feel like it's coin toss.
Yeah.
But the first
They're
one on
both
the radio is Good Luck Babe.
Yes.
Yes.
That was like a hit song. That was, in my opinion, I think it was the song of the summer. Me and my best friends jamming to that one. But yeah, it was her first hit song to reach number 2 underneath Taylor Swift on the charts. So that's kind of how she first kind of skyrocketed to this place of fame. But it was a quick rise to fame, which I think probably plays a role in, you know, why she might be coming out with some of the content that she's coming out with. Like, fastly rising to fame must be like shocking.
Oh, for sure. Your whole life changes. And she did a podcast with Drew. I'm going to butcher her last name. Afuelo. We talked about this.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And during the podcast, Drew asks her, like, what do you miss about not being famous? What do you miss before you got famous? And she had a list, but one of the things that she said that made me laugh was just, like, doing drugs in public. So, I mean, I feel like you do lose so many aspects of. There was that one's the one that stuck out because I thought it was funny. But there was, like, she had a list of things, and I think you just lose a huge part of your life when everywhere you go, people are recognizing you. And she did speak out about it on TikTok where she was like, I don't owe you anything. That was like one of the big controversies.
I have the quotes.
Go crazy.
Okay. So the first kind of TikTok that she made, like you just kind of spoke to it, that kind of went a little bit, well, not a little bit, it skyrocketed. It was in our paper. She placed boundaries with fans. So that's one you're talking about, right? Yeah. So she came on and she states exactly, there's some quotes I left out, but exactly says, I don't care that abuse and harassment, stalking, whatever, is a normal thing to do to people who are famous. I don't care that this type of crazy behavior comes along with the job. I don't give a F if you think it's selfish of me to say no for a photo or for your time or for a hug. That's not normal. That's weird. What do you think about that?
I agree wholeheartedly.
You wrote an opinion piece on this, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so I agree. I think it's silly. You do not know these people. You listen to their music. I don't know, you see their TikToks. You see such a small portion of their life. And my parents are the same way. They watch these van life YouTubers, like those people that travel in vans all the time. So funny.
I love that stuff. I can't lie.
No, it's a
guilty pleasure.
So calming. But my dad was having a conversation. He goes, oh yeah, some people that we know traveling in a van. I was like, the craziest thing is though, you actually don't know them. You don't know them. Love that for you. But they're not your friends. They don't know you exist. So it's like that thing where, like, if you did see them in public, my dad would probably be like, oh my God, hey, like, I've watched you travel the world. But it's like they don't know that you exist. Therefore, they don't owe you absolutely anything. I think even if you're friends with someone, you don't necessarily owe them anything. It's just a give and take. But I don't know. I think skyrocketing to fame, she definitely got a lot more fans and a lot more of, like, the creepy fans. Like, I know Taylor Swift's had a stalker.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's some crazy.
Yeah, so I think she's probably trying to nip that in the butt. Yeah. So it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. But that's fair. Agree with her. I think thinking that you're owed something by somebody that you only know basically while she's working is crazy.
Yeah. No, I think it's very fair to set boundaries with your fans. And I also do think that there is a difference between a fan approaching you and being like, hey, I love your art, I love your music, and between some creepy individual who is harassing, who is stalking, who like what the beginning of her statement kind of said, abuse and harassment and stalking. But towards the end of the statement, when she says, if you ask for my time, and that's fair, I understand that. But I just like, part of me is just like, I don't disagree with her. I like the stare you're giving me. I like the boundaries she sets. But I can just imagine like a little girl maybe who like idolizes her.
Okay, but I don't think she's talking about a little girl. Like,
yeah,
I don't
maybe.
think
okay.
She's talking about that. But I think it's the same thing that, like, if you are working at, I use the example if you're working at a coffee shop. Mm-hmm, if you're working at a coffee shop and you have someone who comes in every day who orders a coffee and you're nice to them, you have that kind of conversation every time you're in. If you were to see that customer on the street and they were like, oh my God, hey, make me a latte, are you going to be like, oh, of course, for sure, yeah. Like, that's her time. That's her free time. Even if it was a little girl, if she's like, girl, I just did 3 shows back to back. I've been on a bus for the last 48 hours.
I can't imagine that.
Like, I just want to just sit here. Like, leave me alone. I think that's so fair. And I think as a celebrity, you give up a lot to be a celebrity.
I agree. I think it's so glamorized, and a lot of people are like, oh, like, you know, to be famous, to be that much in the spotlight. But you do lose a lot. Like, even just my thing is the ability to walk places.
For sure.
That's like crazy. The paparazzi that follows, the flashing cameras, like that must be so overwhelming, having to figure out how to get in and out of every place you go to without, if you are having a day where you don't want to be seen on camera, how do you avoid that? Like, you really can't.
You don't, you don't. But I mean, and I don't know. I feel bad for her, honestly, because I don't think she was PR trained. We know she wasn't PR trained. But so I think she's kind of been thrown to the
wolves almost.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was going to say fish.
To the fish. You know what? Fish are slightly less vicious. Actually, fish can bite.
They can
pretty
bite.
hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think that she probably, it's weird because in some of her TikTok videos, I can't even like kind of grasp what her end goal was, because it's clear that she hates fame and she doesn't want to be famous. But how exactly do you kind of rake in that income or become successful in the music industry without fame?
I don't think necessarily it is that she stated she doesn't want the fame.
Yeah.
However, I think there's an underlying fact there. Like, I don't think she's against the fame.
Yeah.
I think she's against the amount of people whose eyes are on her now that weren't before. Like, before, she had a really small community. That was mostly gays, girls, and thems.
Yes.
Like, that was, and she thrived in that community because she is the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now she has all of the straight men and straight women and all of these other people that weren't initially in her fan base who are now all of a sudden have opinions about it. Could you imagine everything you did being under a microscope and a million people having thoughts, questions, concerns about all of, girl.
Well, and like on that topic too, that's kind of the next thing that happens is because we seem to have this trend lately of wanting celebrities and famous people to become spokespeople for politics and things that are going on the more like political side of the world instead of just pop culture. And she was a victim of one of those moments. So the next TikTok she kind of posted was she took to social media to post about the controversy surrounding something she said in an interview. Was it on Jimmy Fallon that she said that? Or was that, we don't remember.
No, it was in an article online.
Okay.
So she just spoke to, I forget, I think it was Vogue, but I'm not 100% sure.
So she comes on and she says that she isn't playing both sides. She is voting for Kamala Harris, but can't put her whole being and project behind someone she doesn't fully agree with. And I think she's right to that. And endorsing and voting are two totally different things. And I think that was a conversation that nobody had really thought of or had before this, even I, reading that was kind of like, you know what, that's a fair point. Like,
for sure.
We just vote for the best option. But to endorse means I love everything about this. I think everybody should get behind this. And that might not necessarily be true. But what did you write an article about the political? Okay, take it away.
I mean, I agree. I think endorsing is completely different than voting. And I don't know what qualifies her to endorse.
Yeah.
I don't know why people listen to her music, saw her TikToks, again, of her with mascara running down her face, freshly woken up, and she's very blatantly said that she does drugs. So why are we looking at her for an endorsement? As a president, why would you want to be endorsed by her? Like, I just don't think, I mean, she has a huge fan base, so I understand why, but I don't know how influential she is, and I don't know what credentials she has standing up behind. Okay.
Yeah.
1 second. I don't know what credentials she has to back up her endorsement.
No, that's a very fair point. I think it applies to a lot of celebrities. Why are we looking to these people? Because just because they're in the spotlight doesn't mean what they're choosing is necessarily right. But I think more so the problem underlies in people don't want to like somebody that they don't agree with. I think that's probably more it. Like if you were, I think some people out there might be like, oh, I'm a fan of Chappell Roan, but if she were to tell me that she's voting for so and such, I wouldn't like her anymore. So I need to make sure.
What's so crazy about ballots, though?
What?
You go in by yourself, you cross off the president or prime minister that you want, you fold it up, you put it in, and it's completely anonymous.
Yeah.
Why are you telling the whole world who you're voting for to begin with? The whole point of voting for was for it to be anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't I feel like it's worse in the States than we see in Canada, but I don't understand this, oh, you're a Trump voter, then I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
It's like, I just...
And even, well, I think it's tougher down there, too, because you do have to register under a certain party to vote down there. Like, I think you are a registered Republican or...
But
I'm pretty sure.
Like, do you have to broadcast that? Like, do you get a flag?
No, I don't. I think it can be found online by anybody.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure.
Because creepy.
Yeah,
but at least in Canada here, we don't. Like, I don't understand the talk about it, and I don't understand we know somebody who's very blatant about their political stance.
Yeah,
and it was annoying.
Yeah,
it was
annoying. I think it can be a sore spot in friendships. That I think the problem is unfortunately in today's world of politics, our politics involve a lot more of our human rights than they ever have. So I think not that than they ever have, but just it's more talked about now. So I think when people think of a certain political candidate, they think, oh, well, if you vote for that person, then you don't respect my rights as somebody. So I think it becomes more of an assumption where people are like, hey, if you're voting for that person, you're against my rights. And it's just, I think that might be
I
more.
can understand that in the States more or less.
Yeah, I'm more talking politically in the States.
In Canada, I think we're good.
So far.
Yeah, so far.
Is there wood somewhere?
No. But I don't know. I'm not very huge into politics. I think it's just rich men playing checkers with each other. I don't know. I think it's just I don't understand it. I've gone to council meetings and I'm just like, what's happening here? I don't get it. Like the way they talk to each other, everything is just not my cup of tea.
It's a big corporate assembly.
Yeah, I think Chappell Roan not endorse. I wouldn't endorse.
Yeah, I think if I were famous, I would not endorse.
No, I think it was, and okay, the whole thing is in the article, she goes on to say that she is planning to vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, she does say that.
Most people, because Trump is so largely hated, I mean, for good reason, I think. she started off by saying, I won't endorse either side. And when people hear that, they immediately go, oh, she's voting for Trump, because people who are voting for Trump sometimes don't want to be very vocal about it because he's so hated. So if you read the article thoroughly, this controversy shouldn't have started.
No,
it shouldn't have happened in the first place, honestly. But I think she held her own. She didn't, bow.
Yeah.
So, period.
And I think her follow-up video is quite respectful. As somebody who hadn't essentially viewed them until, getting ready for this conversation, I hadn't made my assumptions yet. But the way people were talking about it made it seem like she hopped online and was terrible and was aggressive. And that is not at all. At least the politics video was pretty tame.
Yeah.
The one about fans was not so much.
No.
However, the political one, she was pretty like, the least, I think she made a couple, but the one that I viewed, the original response video, she was very, I think, respectful. So
I think she turned the comments off because I think she's exhausted.
Yeah,
and then after
that's
that,
fair.
Like immediately after this controversy happened, she canceled her appearances at 2 festivals.
Right,
and
that's
that
what happened next.
was kind of what built the controversy further. And what? I don't get it. Do you know how many people cancel concerts?
It's like calling in sick to work.
It's so common, and it wasn't a concert.
Would you get mad at me if I called in sick to work one day? Would you cancel me because I called in sick to work?
I think I'd rile you up about it just for giggles, but I wouldn't care that much, no. But the thing that bothers me about it is it was a festival appearance. It wasn't a concert.
Oh, so it wasn't even a whole...
No,
oh,
she was a
okay.
30-minute set in a day-long festival. Girl,
wow.
If you bought a ticket to see Chapel Roan, and that's how you were seeing her, was through this festival, think.
You got some other free shows.
Festivals change, the lineups change
Very frequently.
Before. They change so often that if you're going to buy a festival ticket to see solely Chapel Roan, use your dome piece. Just think a little harder. I don't know.
No, I can agree to that. It's a whole other thing. Okay, so water break. I think maybe we should wrap up on Chapel Roan and say goodbye, even though we do love her. I think she's paving a new way for celebrities that I think is important, because I think we spend a lot of time in this generation talking about mental health, but when it comes to celebrities, that seems to all go out the window, especially with her canceling her concerts. Yeah. But anyway, okay. Are you ready?
Hit me with it.
Are you ready for it? So did you get that reference?
Yeah, unfortunately. I did, yes.
Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Billionaire, pop star,
Yeah.
female icon.
Okay.
You don't like her?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was okay. I respect that. I love her.
Yeah.
But let's talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. So where does this begin?
Loved her old stuff.
Okay.
You put on Our Song Is a Slam and Scream.
Okay. So debut, original album.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a country fan?
Nope.
Okay.
But at the time I was, I guess. I don't know. I was 14 when that album came out, and I had it on my Walkman. Do you know what Walkman
I
is?
do. I'm not that young.
So you put the CD in. I'm explaining it anyway.
Hey, when I used to go camping, I had one of those.
Yeah. No.
See, I'm not that young.
They were great. I had Avril Lavigne and I had Taylor Swift.
Okay.
So I think that probably also was why I had to like her, because we didn't have a ton.
You didn't have much back then.
No. So I loved her old stuff, and then as she began skyrocketing, I think it's more that I felt the fans were culty. Like the Eras tour, I didn't really know, I didn't like her music, Shake It Off and stuff like that. I was like, this is what we're listening to now? What happened? Give me back my Avril Lavigne Walkman, bro. I was disgusted. Not disgusted, that's crazy, but I just didn't like it.
Okay.
And she built this huge following of, young girls, and everything's a money grab, right? So with the Eras tour and everything, your fans are 13 years old, and you're going to make people pay, what, $5,000 a ticket for nosebleed
tickets
seats?
are expensive, yes.
And it's 13-year-old kids that are like, Mommy, please, can I go? And you. But
that felt like a stab.
A lot of people, it was.
Guess who I'm going with? My 13-year-old sister.
That adds up. That adds up. But I just.
And my mom.
And you're gonna have so much fun. And I hope you have so much fun. And I don't hate people that hate her. It's like, okay, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as if you like Trump, if you are super religious, if you're anything. If like there's a difference between liking it and preaching about, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I know what you mean.
Don't shut up about it.
Yes.
And I think that's what kind of built me to this like level of hatred. But she seems like a decent person.
Okay, and here's what I'm gonna say is I actually agree with you. Now, I've loved Taylor Swift since I was like 4, okay? Since I could walk. Well, I think you start walking at like 1, but whatever. We get it. But I do think that there are some people out there. I saw this thing the other day, and it was that I don't dislike, I don't have a problem with people not liking her music. That, like, everybody listens to different things. That's not what gets me. What gets me is when, if you talk about any other celebrity you like if you walk in a room and you go, I love Avril Lavigne, everyone just goes, oh, that's cool. But if you walk into a room and you say you like Taylor Swift, people will instantly just like, they hate you for it. They're like, oh, so you're one of those, or you're, you know, and it's like, it's
culty.
And there has been a stigma built for good reason.
Yeah.
But I will say we're not all like that.
On both sides.
On every side.
On both sides.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm very vocal on the fact, well, you know that I don't like her, but I don't think I've ever shunned you for it.
No, I've never felt that way.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah, thank you. See, because it's okay to disagree. It's okay to like different things.
Yeah.
So, and then there's the whole football and baseball Dodgers game side of it. Have you heard that?
No.
Well, her being shunned for entering, you know, football territory.
Oh.
But that's we could do a whole podcast just on that.
I couldn't. I don't know what's going on.
I could. My gosh. But, you know, I think that's part of it. There's just so much hate, and I just think it's not necessary.
But I think that's the day and age. You know, you're online. People who are chronically online are not, they need to touch grass.
Touch grass. Grass is pretty. It's fall. It's nice. The leaves are changing.
Yeah.
It's
super satisfying.
Well, that was your celebrity rundown of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us rant about Chappell Roan and Taylor Swift. And we didn't even get to Liam Payne, but may he rest in peace. One Direction, that era of music.
Young kids don't even know that One Direction.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you talk to really young people.
That is terrible. All right. Make sure to grab the latest copy of the Interrobang on all of our newsstands. Subscribe to all of our platforms on social media, and subscribe to our podcast. Listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. For the Interrobang, I'm Briar Wilson.